Hello, students. I guess you got this email I've sent you asking you to plot a standard curve for both protein and starch values you got last lab, and then calculate the concentrations of protein and starch. So doing this literally takes maybe like half an hour. So I'm making this video so that for people who are a little bit confused about where to plug in the values you got and stuff like that. Okay, so um, so this is a snapshot of my manual. So these are the values I got when we TAs did the experiment. So do not use these values. I'll give you a 0 if you do. So don't. So I took a snapshot of it so that I can explain you about which values you are taking from here and plugging it in the Excel sheet I have attached to the email I've just sent you. Okay, so this is the Excel sheet I've sent you, and these has two sheets, one for protein and other for starch. So both have the same column names, but the only difference is, I guess, the absorbance, which should be changed, but it isn't, I guess. Okay, so let's talk about protein now. So this column and this column at the beginning, they should include the values. I mean, the standard for concentration values are the values from this column. So you plug in these values on, where did that go? Here. And then you plug in the absorbance values you got when you took the absorbances. Do you remember what you did here? You calculated the volumes of water and protein you need and for getting this concentration, and then you pivoted out everything into test tubes and you got these absorbance values, right? So you'll need this information, the concentration of the protein you have used, and this information, the absorbance you have got, to make the standard curve. So that's the reason I have shared with you this Excel sheet. So you're going to put the concentrations here and the absorbance values here and create a standard curve. You know how to create a standard curve because you have already created a standard curve and emailed it to me. So enter those values here and create a standard curve by inserting charts, or like a scatter plot, this one. And then as soon as you get the graph ready over there, you will have options for including a line equation, just like we have discussed in the lab class. You plug in the values and get your standard curve ready and put a trend line and choose the option which says show the line equation. Okay, so note the line equation down somewhere on a paper, or it's like visible on the graph. And coming to here, you are going to write the names of the supplements you use. Like for me, I used these supplements like during the TA prep. So go ahead, do that, and then enter the absorbance values you've got. You're writing the supplement names there and the absorbance at 565. Okay, so you have this information. And now you also have the line equation from the standard curve you got from this, right? So if you refer to your lab manual, page number 48, there are two examples about how to calculate the concentration using the absorbance values. We have discussed this in the lab. So since you have the line equation and the absorbance values of these supplements here, you're plugging in those absorbance values in the line equation, and then you're going to get the concentration of the proteins, all the three supplements you used over here. So we have two columns here which says dilute concentration and concentration. So if you remember, I took a snapshot of the protocol also. So if you remember, you made a 1:10 dilution of the supplement, right? So whatever math you did to know the amount of supplement you need was for 2 ml of the solution. But then later you did a 1:10 dilution. So you actually diluted the serving size 10 times, right? So when you plot this standard curve and plug in the absorbances of your supplements, you're actually getting the concentration of protein in the diluted form you created, right? So this is where those values go. But we need the concentration of protein in the actual dilution, right? So if you know the concentration of protein, which is 10 times diluted, you can calculate the concentration of protein in the undiluted mixture also, right? We used C1, V1 stuff. So do it, and that's how you're going to get the concentration. So diluted concentration is from the absorbance values you got. Because we have diluted the concentration by 10 times, that's why we have named this column as diluted concentration. But since we want to know the actual concentration of the protein in the actual serving size, which was actually like 2 ml, I guess, right? Here we make 2 ml of each supplement according to the measurements, but here we diluted, and the absorbance values you got was for the diluted mixture, and you are going to plug in those absorbance values into your line equation and get the diluted concentration. So you have to find the actual concentration from the diluted concentration. Simple, right? So you're going to do the same thing. This is for the protein. If you see here, this is a protein sheet. We're going to do the same thing for the starch. Okay. The only thing is they didn't change the wavelength. Let us see the wavelengths here. So for protein, we measure at 565, and starch we measure at 580. So the sheet which has starch should say 580 instead of 565, but that doesn't matter. So you're going to do the same thing here. You're just going to plug in the standard curve concentration, right? I can show you the picture from my lab. So see, you're going to plug in concentration of starch in the first column, these values over there, and then obviously you're going to plug in the absorbance you got in here, right? And then you're going to select this and then plot a standard curve, put a trend line, and choose the option which says show the line equation, and that's how you're going to get the line equation. So you're done with this part. And then again, just like you did for the protein, you're going to write the name of the supplements like this, and of course the absorbances, here, right? And then you're going to use the line equation from the trend line you got from the standard curve here, and then calculate the diluted concentration, and from there you're going to get the actual concentration, right? So I made this video, to help you more. So I guess this makes it pretty clear. So if you still have questions, you can always email me. Okay, great. So see you on Wednesday. Bye-bye.